Welcome to the Cover 4 podcast. I'm Nolan Kangas. That's Bradshaw Furlong, Luca Moya, and Jeff Wall. Stock up, stock down. It's as easy as that, guys. Here's the process. We're going to go two players in a team-based, subject at that point, whether it's the team itself, the offense, the defense, special teams, whatever the hell you want it to be. You're going to stock up on those three categories and then stock down on something, obviously the same categories again. It's going to be a little bit of a longer episode, but this one's going to be fun. And obviously we got to explain why we maybe are so high on these players or this team and why we're so low. And I think this could end up being some controversy around the horn, but that's what it's all about. So the man who's known for some of his controversy, maybe some controversial hot takes, Jeff, get me started. Let's go. Now, do you guys want to go? Do we want to go three in a row, just our all stock up, or do we want to go one stock up to start and then go all the way around?
Let's go one at a time.
One at a time. All right. I like it. All right, Jeff, one stock up. What do you have?
One stock up. Okay. So, I guess this should be somewhat obvious. Maybe it would be surprising. I don't know. I'm just going to gauge a react. I'm just going to feel it out here. I think the Bears offense is going to be a little bit better this year. I haven't received my Justin Fields jersey. I ordered it as soon as he got drafted. I'm a little bit mad, but regardless, I'm pretty excited about this Bears offense. I think it's going to be at least, a lot more fun. I think there's going to be some hurdles to get over. I'm not going to lie to you, but I think Justin Fields is going to make a late push, so much so that he could be in that rookie of the year conversation with a guy like Trevor Lawrence, with a guy like Trey Lance, potentially, assuming he's starting. And I just think that, the weapons are decent. They're decent. I was almost going to say they were good. They're decent. Obviously, there's one that's very good, and we might get to him a little bit later. But, I think that this offense is going to run much more efficiently. I think Matt Nagy is going to be more creative, more aggressive. And I think one thing I didn't really think of initially is how much that really fits with Matt Nagy and Justin Fields together are both very aggressive-minded kind of player and coach. And I think it could be one of those match-made coaching and quarterbacks like we've seen in the past. Sean Payton and Drew Brees come to mind. So yeah, give me the Chicago Bears offense. Stock up.
All right. So Jeff gets it started with a team. I like it. I'd be surprised if, we all disagreed with you, because I'm going to agree. I think if Justin Fields, don't know if he's going to start right away, but let's say he gets in week 3, week 4, him and Allen Robinson, he's one of the more accurate quarterbacks in, of this rookie class at least, and in college football he was. And guess what? Allen Robinson has never had an accurate quarterback, so he should look pretty darn good as well. Luca, give me another stock up, whether it be a player or a team. Let's go.
Jeff, next time you address the rookie quarterback class, you better put Mac Jones in that conversation, okay? Because we'll see what he's going to do for the Pats. I'm going with another quarterback, going with Carson Wentz. This is a guy who's kind of gone under the radar, a trade that's gone under the radar, but he's back with Frank Reich. And that team in Philadelphia, when they made that Super Bowl run, it was pretty loaded with talent. Well, this Indianapolis team have a lot of good pieces around him. Great offensive line, great receivers, great running back, and they have the head coach to do it. And what you have to realize is that he's going to be playing, 9 games in a dome minimum. So weather might not be even a factor. We see in Philly, it gets cold sometimes. You saw the ball slip out of his hands. I don't know if that's just Carson Wentz or the weather, but that's just another element that can help him develop as well this season. And they're playing in a division that really, there's not really a clear set winner. Is it the Titans that they downgrade with Julio? It's not going to be the Texans, but how good is Jacksonville going to be? So this is a pretty competitive division. And I think Carson Wentz is a guy that we should be looking at to say he's going to have a bounce back here. So his stock is up for me.
You made some good points there. Obviously, it might be actually closer to 10 games in a dome, right? Because when they face Houston, that's going to be a dome as well. And that's going to be a win, because Houston's going to be nightmarishly bad. I like that. I think I don't know if it's yet a make or break year for Carson Wentz, but I think it's showtime for him. He's got to prove to the doubters who basically shit on him all year last year that, he's worth it. He's worth that paycheck that he'd, got after, the past couple of years. All right, Bradshaw, stock up. What do you have, buddy?
I'm wearing my Baltimore Ravens jersey. I'm wearing my Lamar Jackson jersey, but I'm not going to stock up Lamar Jackson because, I think the stock's already as high as it can be for Lamar Jackson. It's Lamar Jackson. I'm going to go with one of the guys in the backfield with him. I'm going to go with J.K. Dobbins. I think J.K. Dobbins is going to have a really, really solid year. Obviously, he's coming off a fantastic second half of his rookie season. I believe in his last 9 or so games, he averaged like 6 yards a carry, had over 650 yards in his last 9 games. He was really, really good. But I think this year he's going to be able to ascend even higher because, well, the offense should be more spread out. There should be more threat of the pass with Rashad Bateman and Sammy Watkins. Marquise Brown won't have as big of a role this year. He should at least be able to have a bit more freedom. So I think it'll open up a bit more for J.K. Dobbins. And obviously the threat of Lamar Jackson running the ball is pretty high already. So I think J.K. Dobbins is going to have a really, really good sophomore season. So I'm really, really high on J.K. Dobbins coming into this season. So stock up on him. Absolutely 100%.
Love J.K. Dobbins. Obviously, Mark Ingram not there anymore. Gus Edwards, how many touches is he going to get? I think that's a fantastic pick there, Bradshaw, and that's why I'm kind of sticking in the same direction. I'm going to go another second-year running back, Deandre Swift for the Detroit Lions. They are going to be horrible, but Deandre Swift last year, PFF grade just below 70, but here's a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield. It was surprising. Looking at his numbers. Only 114 carries last season, right? He did score 8 touchdowns on the ground, 4.6 yards per carry. I had no idea. 46 catches and 360 yards, 2 scores. Obviously, we're not watching a lot of Lions games, but went under the radar, right? He shared the backfield of Adrian Peterson, Kerryon Johnson, who could never stay healthy. It's pretty much going to be him at RB1 and Jamal Williams at RB2. And I think Jamal Williams is a perfect complement to him. He's great at that RB2 position. Obviously, he played it, filled in behind Aaron Jones there in Green Bay. And also Jared Goff. We've seen in the past, he likes to utilize his running backs out of the backfield and pass them. We know Todd Gurley, another former Georgia Bulldog. And this Detroit Lions O-line, I think it's a little underrated. Obviously, Taylor Decker, phenomenal. Frank Ragnow got the huge contract. And then they get arguably the best player in the draft in Penei Sewell. I think they're going to run the football a lot. Dan Campbell seems like that kind of coach. I wouldn't be surprised if DeAndre Swift is going to put up 1,400 yards from scrimmage. I think he's that talented. And I think he's going to put up a lot of catches. This might even be surprising. Who are the big receivers there in Detroit? Right?
None.
Not a lot of talent.
None.
Not a lot of talent. I wouldn't be surprised if DeAndre Swift leads the team in catches. I think he's got that much talent. I think they're going to make him the focus of the offense. So stock up for sure in DeAndre Swift. All righty. So do we want let's go to stock down. I guess I'll go back to back and then we'll go all the way back around the horn. Is that cool with you guys?
Sure, why not?
So I'll make it
Take it away, Nolan.
I'll make it the most surprising one. Josh Allen, quarterback, Buffalo Bills. Stock down. Just looking at these numbers, I was searching on social media because I was trying to find, I knew he was way up there in most turnover-worthy plays. And some more numbers came up and they were a little bit surprising. Second most turnover-worthy plays last year. 15th in on-target percentage, 22nd in least pressured quarterback in the NFL, 14th in intended air yards attempts, 13th in completed air yards attempts, and just that jump, when you look at the PFF grade, 65, 64, 90. That is unheard of, right? I think it's going to come down to earth a little bit. Obviously he has the weapons. He still has a really talented offensive line. I think there's going to be maybe some complications, maybe with one of his slot receivers that he's constantly in the news all of a sudden. But I just think he's going to come down to earth a little bit. Some of those turnovers, especially remember that Arizona Cardinals game. I think he still had 2 picks in that game, and Patrick Peterson dropped 2 other interceptions. So I don't think he's going to be in the MVP race again. I think the Bills are still going to be in the playoffs. I'm not saying like they're going to just fall, down in the hell. They're still a talented team. Josh Allen isn't going to be putting up the MVP numbers. I'm going to stock down on the Bills. I think they're going to have to rely on that defense, hopefully bouncing back this season.
That was a Jeff Wall-esque hot take there. My goodness, Nolan. I was not expecting that.
All right, we'll see if you got a hot take there, Bradshaw. Stock down. Who do you have?
This is just a fun one. I can't even give you a hot take because this is just a fun one. Stock down Tim Tebow. He was not invited to TEU because he didn't have the tight end experience as I believe it was Travis Kelce said. So that's why he didn't get invited to tight end university. He is not an official tight end if he does not get think about this. He doesn't have the experience to get into TEU, but Kyle Pitts does. That's a little fishy to me. Sounds a little fishy to me. Get Tim Tebow all the way out of here. They don't respect him as a tight end. All the tight ends don't respect him. Get him out of here. Get him out of the league. He doesn't deserve it. You're bringing a bad name to tight ends everywhere. Jeff, imagine if Tim Tebow was a safety ruining your favorite position's name. Garbage.
Just
Stock
awful.
down Tim
Just
Tebow.
awful.
Garbage.
The one thing that pisses me off is we've seen, I think his jersey got overtaken by Carl Nassib, obviously. That's fantastic. How on earth was Tim Tebow again? He does it every time he gets in the NFL. The best-selling jersey. It makes sense.
Nolan is literally the Aaron Paul. He can't keep getting away with this.
It actually is. Okay, he goes to the Jets and then the Patriots. And then
How many employees does ESPN have?
Too many.
A lot.
Because like,
have you guys seen the picture? If Trevor Lawrence throws a touchdown to Tim Tebow, don't go on Instagram for at least a week.
Oh no!
It's gonna be blowing up your phones, guys. A little flea flicker, maybe. You're gonna get Tebow to do some crazy stuff.
That's if Tebow even touches the field in the regular season. Luca, who are you stocking down on?
My stock down is, it's not really that bold or anything. I think they try to address this in the offseason. They do a good job. It's the Cowboys secondary. And it's because, listen, they hired Brad's former head coach. And when I say like he was historically bad, like historically bad. And he's going to a team that was all-time worse, but he was worse than them. That's what Dallas did to replace. No, let's not get better. Let's get someone who was worse than we were. And then let's go and sign some Falcons to help this defense as well.
Whoa. I will not hear Keanu Neal slander on this podcast.
Hold
on.
He was on the defense last year.
He was good.
He was good. But he will never be thought of as good because of the amount of blown leads they had. I think he's a good little player too, Brad. But I mean,
he's going to be playing linebacker? Like, come on.
Yeah, again, Dallas, like, what do they have? Like 25 linebackers like on that team?
That might not be enough. They might need 35.
I don't know. Jeff's going to be upset. They're not going to play
linebacker graveyard, man. Everybody that plays linebacker there gets hurt now all the time.
Exactly. They're gonna have to put the linebackers as hybrids, and Jeff's going to love that. But I don't think if you're a Dallas fan, you should be happy with what's happening. They passed on Asante Samuel Jr. in the draft because they want a longer cornerback in Kelvin Joseph. Like, it's just something that Dallas continuously year in and year out, they just make head-scratching decisions, and we see it halfway through the year when their record is not where we thought it would be. They're always the most talented team in the league, and they underperform. And I think it's going to be the same thing. The secondary is going to really hold this team back. Diggs is an okay piece. He's an aggressive corner. He showed some flashes, but at times he would just look lost out there. So how much will he develop? I don't know. Do I trust Dan Quinn to completely turn it around? No, I do not. So that's why Dallas' secondary for me is, if it's not already plummeted, it's in the ground, and we'll see that halfway through the year.
We went from having a Cowboys fan on this podcast to just someone ripping the
Cowboys.
I like the Cowboys.
Listen, I like the Cowboys, but I got to be true here. You don't, of course. You don't like anybody but Chicago, Jeff. But that's right. That's secondary is going to be brutal, I think.
But I'm with you. I was so close to putting them in my stock down category. Maybe just the Cowboys in general. I think Dak's going to be fine, obviously, and I think Amari Cooper, CD Lamb's going to take a leap. But I was just thinking this defense is going to be still really, really, really bad. I didn't put them there, but I'm glad you ended up mentioning it, Luca. Jeff, stock down. Give me your first one here.
Oh no!
It was so tempting to put Justin Herbert here, but I'm not going to do that.
Stop
I'm not
it, Jeff. Stop it.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because, Nolan basically took his bigger brother, his like the beta version of Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert won't get an MVP candidacy kind of trajectory in any season in the next 3 years. Okay. But anyway, regardless of my, incredible ability to predict
your bias, my
bias, my ability to predict Super Bowls, lest we forget. This was actually tough because there's a few very tempting things. And maybe this is a stretch. I could be completely wrong on this. I think some people might actually be upset. And I think everybody got really excited when this amazing receiver got a move. He got a trade. It was the biggest talk of the offseason. Julio Jones went to the Tennessee Titans, and we're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? He's going to be on the Tennessee Titans, right? And we're thinking, oh my God, what are they going to do? You know what they're going to do? They're going to run the ball more, and they're going to run it again, and they're going to run it again, and they're going to run it again. And Derrick Henry is going to have like 25 yards in the first half. And they're going to finally try and throw it to Julio. And guess what? He's allergic to the end zone. So that's going to be a little bit tough for the Tennessee offense. And obviously, the more strategical, obvious thing is they lost their offensive coordinator. And we just don't really know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen with this offense. I think people are really high on the Tennessee Titans. I'm not so sure. I think the fact that, Jacksonville can't be much worse than they were last year. Obviously Houston's horrible, but, I think Indianapolis is going to be generally more competitive. I think if even it's just the simple fact that their offense is better is going to help their defense stay fresh and ready to go. And I just don't think that the Tennessee Titans are going to have a very good year. I think they've been a fringe team for a while. I think even I overestimated them originally, back when they got into the playoffs and beat the New England Patriots. But I think generally speaking that they're going to finally kind of come back down to earth. And, they might be closer to 500, obviously not 500 because that's not possible anymore. But regardless, I think the offense is just going to take a pretty bad nosedive.
I think this is like if I were putting money down on over-under win totals, this is the one I'd have no idea what to do because the OC's gone. Arthur Smith, he was the mastermind of this offense that nobody could figure out, especially in the second half of football games. What's Derrick Henry going to look like? A.J. Brown as maybe the number 2 now, right? And what's the target share going to look like between obviously Julio and A.J. Brown? Jonnu Smith is gone, right? This offensive line, how are they going to hold up? The defense was horrific last year. Adoree Jackson's out of the picture now. What is the plan for this Titans team? I honestly could see them winning 10 games, but I could also see them losing 10 games just because they're so suspect right now. But I definitely agree with that, Jeff. We'll bounce back right to you. Stock up. You started with a team. Give me a player now.
A player, stock up. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I got to be.
You can't say Justin Fields, Jeff.
Okay, I'm not going to say Justin Fields. Don't worry. But I will say one of the guys he's throwing to. And it's not Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson just generally, it's obvious. Again, like you said, getting, he finally got a quarterback. But Darnell Mooney, mark my words, this guy's going to prove himself to be at the very least a bona fide number 2 option wide receiver. Darnell Mooney was one of the biggest steals of the draft of 2 years ago. He was awesome. He just needs someone who has some idea on how to throw, and it clearly wasn't Nick Foles. It's not Andy Dalton, and I think it is Justin Fields. So I think with all that being said, the fact that he is a burner too, and like we said about the aggressiveness, I think is going to be used so much better. I think he's going to take a big leap this year. So watch out for Darnell Mooney.
Let me just I just need to quickly rewrite my stock ups for a second here. Russell Gage, Mike Davis, every Atlanta Falcon, because we're allowed to just pick our own players now. That's what we're doing, huh?
That's
okay,
right.
Jeff, realistically, predict what you think, how many catches and yards.
Okay, catches.
100 catches, 1,500 yards, 20 touchdowns.
I'll say 1,400 yards. I would say, let's go with 80, south of 85 catches. I think he's just going to be a big, deep threat kind of target.
1,400 yards.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
He's going to rival Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, bold predictions was a couple episodes ago, but it's tying into this one a little bit.
Yes, Allen Robinson got traded then, I guess.
I do like Darnell Mooney, though. I do like him. I think he fits well with that offense, and that's sort of a similar receiver that Justin Fields is thrown to, guys who can get deep down the middle of the field, and obviously his big arm, he can find them. 1,400 is shooting the moon there a little bit, Jeff. Luca, give me a stock up again.
Stock up. Another running back. He's gone under the radar. We've forgotten about this guy's extremely talented. I'm going with Saquon Barkley. And the Giants, they added a lot of pieces on the offense, and this is the prove it year. I've said it before for Daniel Jones. I don't think now you can stack the box against Saquon when you have Galladay on the outside. You have Kadarius Toney now coming into the mix, right? This is a different kind of field. It's a different offense. We've said it on the podcast before. I believe it was Brad who said he hopes Jason Garrett can be creative with this offense. I don't know if he will, but he definitely has the talent. And if this was ever a good opportunity to show the league that he can actually call plays, this would be it. And he has to develop this quarterback. You can't stack the box. You have to respect the receivers on the outside, even if the quarterback isn't up to par, and even if the quarterback isn't I guess you could say Pro Bowl caliber, you still have to respect the receivers, which I think will open up bigger lanes for Saquon. He's coming back off an injury. We'll see how he could do, but this guy's a monster. He's a beast. He's very athletic, and his quads, even though he tore his ACL, it's going to look like he didn't because he's going to be jumping over 5 guys in week 1. So he's immensely, immensely talented, and I think with the pieces they put around this offense, he's going to have a good year.
My only concern is their offensive line is a hot piece of garbage, and I really hope they can figure it out. But you're right, a lot of weapons there. My ideal dream here, and I know Daniel Jones statistically is the best deep thrower in football. Is that actually the case when we watch it live? Not really. The dream for me, for the Giants, because I don't mind them. I'd like to see them be successful with the talent they have, is move on from Daniel Jones next year after you end up winning 5 games, and Malik Willis right there, adding so much fun. The Liberty quarterback, that would be the dream. Is that going to happen? Probably not. No, they'll probably just end up picking up Daniel Jones 50 or whatever it is. But Saquon, I think you're right. A little bit under the radar. The talent's obviously there, just can't stay healthy. Let's hope he does this season and he will go absolutely nuts. Bradshaw, stock up. Who do you have?
All right. I'm going to stock up a whole team, entire team, whole offense, defense, all of them. All right. The Denver Broncos. We're not talking about them enough, and I'm going to give you some headlines that I saw as to why we should stock them up. These are real headlines that I read. All right. Drew Lock, he's changing his pre-snap stance. Guys, come on. That's huge. Come on. Come on.
So this is a joke.
Teddy Bridgewater is smiling at minicamp. Crazy. Melvin Gordon says he's feeling lighter after cutting his hair. How could we not? Okay, I'll be a little serious. So I do think they're not getting talked about enough. I think everyone's kind of like in the AFC West, it's like, okay, the Chiefs and the Chargers, like, oh, the Chargers are coming up. And I mean, everyone but one person on here likes the quarterback on the LA Chargers. Most of us think they'll be a good team this year. But the Denver Broncos, I feel like they're not getting, like, their defense is going to be fantastic. Like, I think this is one of the best units, if not the best unit in football. They have talent at basically every single level of that defense. And I think the offense isn't, if Teddy Bridgewater plays, let me be clear. I think the offense isn't going to be that bad. Like, Teddy Bridgewater is a fine enough quarterback, like a step up from Drew Lock to get the guys he has around him the ball. Noah Fant, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. Like, these are guys, you have real talent on this offense. Javonte Williams, they drafted. Melvin Gordon, I know he was joking that he felt lighter, but he's still a serviceable running back. Like, I think this team isn't getting talked enough about because people see Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock like, well, it's terrible. You're just not going to be very good now, are they? I think Teddy Bridgewater can do enough, and I think he has the talent around him to do enough for them to be, I think they could be a playoff team, to be honest with you. So I'm stocking up the entire team because the defense is fantastic, and I think the offense is better than people are giving it credit for.
Well, Bradshaw, that's back-to-back where that sort of ties into mine because I'm stocking up on Jerry Jeudy, the wide receiver for those Denver Broncos. The only concerning thing last year, 10 drops, right? That led to 6 interceptions for that Broncos offense. Guess what? Drew Lock was throwing the football. If it's Teddy B, I think that offense changes slightly. One, he doesn't have the big arm that Drew Lock has. He likes those short to intermediate throws, but he's more accurate. We definitely know that. We've seen that in the past. He doesn't like taking chances as much, which kind of worries me, but maybe he could trust these receivers. Cortland Sutton is going to be back. That's going to take some pressure off of Jeudy. And I think Judy's almost the perfect complement to a guy who likes the short to intermediate throws. He's the total package, right? Easily, maybe this is bold, easily, right now in the NFL, he's a top 10 route runner. Like, his releases are disgusting, and everybody knows that. If you look back at interviews, I know Xavier Howard said oh, that kid's nasty. Like, that kid had made me look bad on several occasions, but just passes didn't get there, right? So I think that he gets some more accurate passes from Teddy B. I'd be stunned if this guy isn't 75 catches, maybe just over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. We kind of forget about his rookie year, right? Obviously, Justin Jefferson was fantastic. Brandon Ayuk was fantastic. Chase Claypool had his moments. T. Higgins had his moments, right? But kind of Jeudy went under the radar. But still, over 50 catches, nearly 860 yards. That's not bad for a rookie season when Drew Lock, who is arguably the worst quarterback in football, was throwing you the ball. I know I've beaten up on Drew Lock enough. But I do expect Jeudy to have a really good year. I think when Jeff and I were doing our rankings for the 2020 draft, I think he was my number 1 wide receiver. Now he's under the radar, and people are putting several other receivers ahead of him. I think he's going to prove why he's one of the best. We'll go back-to-back here. Let's go with stock down. Whether I want to do the team or the player first. I'll leave the team for the end. Let's go another player. I think Bradshaw talked about the Baltimore Ravens offense before, and maybe he mentioned this guy's name, but I'm going to go down on him a little bit, or stock down. Mark Andrews. I'm not really there. I just think there's too much talent where they have to transform this offense, because in moments it got pretty predictable, right? It's run the ball and Lamar trying to find someone over the middle, right? And that's always been the struggle, is finding that guy down the sidelines, past the numbers. They haven't really had good receivers like that. Now you have Rashad Bateman, Jeff's guy, and now you have Sammy Watkins, who, he's a decent receiver, but certainly better than what they had. Marquise Brown, maybe he takes a leap this year. And then J.K. Dobbins, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think those are 4 guys that they're going to use in the offense a ton. We know Lamar's going to rush for over 900 yards. Mark Andrews last season wasn't the guy we saw in Lamar's MVP year, right? He was the 10th highest graded tight end. Fine. Still, only 76th grade. Mike Gesicki was better than him. Anthony Firster was better than him. Mo Alley Cox was better than him. I do think there's too much talent around this offense now where they're going to try and include the tight end a ton, whereas it's going to be like, we got to prove Rashad Bateman is our guy moving forward. Now we have Sammy Watkins. They want to prove as well that, Lamar Jackson, there's still people who question his arm. I think he can prove it this season by finding those weapons. Mark Andrews is going to maybe get left out a little bit. And so that's why I'm going to stock down on Mark Andrews a tad. And then that goes back to Bradshaw to stock down.
I'll make this quick. It's a little more serious, but I'll make it quick. Frank Clark stock down. Absolutely. This guy, like, how the hell is he still in the NFL? He got charged with weapons possession again, and in California that carries a 20-year sentence. So hopefully, for the sake of the NFL and for the Kansas City Chiefs, so they can just take the decision out of their hands, put him in jail, and just get rid of him. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of him. Like, just get him out of here. This guy's garbage.
I think they'd appreciate that too, because that contract is pretty bad, and he was pretty horrible last year, and he's a horrible person. So yeah, it'd be a win-win.
Ripping off like Frank Clark.
That's for sure. But that was short and sweet, Bradshaw. I like it. Luca, stock down. What do you have?
Another running back. Sorry, I don't want to double down.
Oh,
I am. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Jeff.
Breaking the mold.
Listen, he's on the Bears though, so don't worry. Even though Montgomery's probably not going to get any carries because Mooney's going to catch 500 balls, so we'll see what happens.
Jeff's next stock up is Tariq Cohen anyway. It's fine.
My stock down is Aaron Jones. I truly believe Aaron Rodgers is not going to be there next season, whether he just doesn't play or he gets traded. And we saw what happened when Aaron Rodgers was injured. Sean Kaiser came in. It was an absolute joke. They were picking in the lottery. Like, it was terrible. And so when you have a running back like that, they're going to be down in a lot of games, I think. And that means the run game is irrelevant. And so Devontae Adams, can he stay healthy? I think he was the best receiver in football this year. Can he stay healthy? He's even going to want to play without Aaron Rodgers. Like, he's been backing him at camp saying, you don't know what you got until it's gone. Well, is he going to play? Like, maybe he holds out too. Like, I heard all the receivers. So Green Bay is just an absolute mess. And I think Aaron Jones, unfortunately for him, even though that he got the contract extension, I think it's going to be a rough year for him just because of everything going around, and he's not going to have the right quarterback. And this team looks like they're not like in sync. There's no chemistry. They're just all over the place. And that has to do with poor management. And unfortunately, it has to come to this for Green Bay because they've been such a historic franchise, a really good franchise for the last couple of seasons. But I think Aaron Jones is going to stock down. Not anything to do against him. I think he's a really talented running back, but just the situation around him, I just don't think he can rise above it when you have all this outside noise going on.
I completely agree with you. And it seems like this offseason, everybody keeps nitpicking little pieces from Green Bay and tearing them down, which is great for me and Jeff to see. But I'm pretty sure, we didn't even talk a lot about it, but the fact they gave Aaron Jones the big contract and Corey Linsley, they let him walk. This offensive line, David Bakhtiari is going to be probably not starting the season, right? I think he tore his ACL in week 17. And I know Mina Kimes said the same thing on her show, saying, stock down on this Green Bay offensive line, which was fantastic last year, is they're kind of suspect right now. And now you don't know the Aaron Rodgers situation. Now Aaron Jones is going to get majority of the touches. Sure, there's A.J. Dillon. But then that just adds to the fact, why'd you pay Aaron Jones when you drafted A.J. Dillon in the second round last year? Like, it's very confusing, the management there in Green Bay. So Luca, definitely agree with you. I was actually considering putting Aaron Jones as well, but Ended up going a different direction on my next stock down, but I'll save that. Jeff, stock down. Who do you have, buddy?
Oh, here we go.
Stock down. Okay. So I was considering pretty much the entire side of the ball here in LA, but I'm just going to go with one player because, corners are, the poor man's safety. And this gentleman just lost his safety net, his true playmaker on the defense. It's Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey, stock down. I couldn't fully go Aaron Donald just because he's generational. I mean, it's really hard to knock him. But hey, cornerbacks do this. They do kind of fall off from time to time. Jalen Ramsey, I've always liked him just because he's a physical corner. But I just kind of think, there's a point here where it's just, the shoe is going to drop. Also, I think the offenses in the West generally got better. Obviously, San Francisco, if they're healthy at all, they should be a lot better. And they're a true threat, as we said earlier, around Super Bowl time. So, stock down Jalen Ramsey. He's going to be, it's going to depend. Is he going to really want to talk a lot more, since we've sworn a ton on the show? Is he going to talk more shit, or is he going to talk less shit? He might be completely silent. He might have to be, because he might be getting torched this year.
This man is stalking down Jalen Ramsey because John Johnson left in free agency, not
That's
because
great.
Brandon Staley left.
That too. Oh, sorry, that too. I forgot about that. But that was actually one of my main reasons is he left. But yes, like there's a ton of reasons essentially. But I just wanted to kind of pick on corners because safeties are.
He's gonna get torched. That's the first.
That's another bold one. But I will say, I think the receiver everybody was gushing over in Seattle got babied. Got Jalen Ramsey ate DK Metcalf's food the 3 times they played. Locked him up.
He was looking pretty skinny, yeah.
But I will say, so when Jalen Ramsey was all-pro corner,
my goodness,
obviously he was all-pro corner this year, and all-pro corner, times in Jacksonville. Was he only made, look good in Jacksonville because of Barry Church?
I was about to say Barry Church's name. Thank you.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, amongst other things, yeah. But I just think eventually, man, it just happens with every single corner, man. Every single corner, eventually the shoe drops. Oh, and here's another thing: defensive pass interference is absurd. They just don't let these guys touch people. And honestly, Jalen Ramsey is a very physical guy. He is going to try and jam people at the line. He is going to grab. He's going to pull. He's going to hold. He is going to interfere with the receiver's route. He does that all the time. He's very physical. And the NFL just isn't allowing that. And that sucks. I like Jalen Ramsey, but this is just kind of the reality of the situation. You lost probably the best defensive mind in football, not named Bill Belichick. You lost your safety, which means you can't play the same way you used to. I think the whole defense is just taking a step back. I think it just makes sense, to be honest with you.
I think maybe the defense as a whole will take a step back, but I still think, pound for pound, my opinion, Jalen Ramsey is the best corner in football. I know Jair Alexander is getting a lot of love. I don't know how much love you can give to a guy who just stays on one side of the field. I like guys who follow the number one receiver. I know I'm just nitpicking at the Packers again, but we'll hold it to you there, Jeff. Another, a stock down on a generational corner. I'll take it.
He's telling us basically that he's going to become Brandon Browner is what he's telling us.
Hey,
Jalen
don't
Ramsey
kid
is
yourself.
Brandon Browner.
Brandon Browner played a huge role in that Malcolm Butler interception. Okay,
Sure.
That's actually true.
And then he went to then he became absolute garbage.
Then he went to the Saints, and that's the last thing you ever heard. So
yeah, or Byron Maxwell. That one would is it.
It won't be that. It won't be that bad. He won't be that bad. He's just gonna have he's gonna have one of those Josh Norman years, except he'll probably come back.
He'll get stiff armed, is what you're saying.
Yeah. He's gonna get.
All right. Let's get more positive. Who is a stock up on your list here, Jeff?
Javon Wims.
I mean, it can't get much worse for Javon Wims. My God, man. Stock up. All right. I will go. Can't really get much higher for this guy. I'll just go with Patrick Mahomes because. He's just gonna win another MVP. I think that's because realistically he was really close last year. He was really, really close. And he's the best quarterback in the NFL, and his offensive line just got better. For me, it's just hard for me to see him not winning another MVP. And is that not the ultimate goal? Is that not the ultimate stock up that you can possibly give? Also, after a tough Super Bowl, regardless of how well he played, it was a tough night for him. So I'll go stock up. Patrick Mahomes wins the MVP this year after 2 years away from the award.
Took me a second. He said, "Is that
Man.
the ultimate goal?" And I was like, "Isn't that a Super Bowl?"
Nolan's
Isn't the Super Bowl the ultimate
cat
goal?
couldn't listen to you anymore.
Got out of there.
He scared him. Come on.
I love the stock up on the best player in football. I'll take it though. You know what?
It wasn't last year, so I don't know.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
That's right. It was Justin Herbert last year. You're right, Jeff.
That's fair. That's fair. Speaking of Herbert
Justin
and
Fields.
Holmes, I did see a stat, and Jeff, you're not going to like this one. Players who had 10 plus big time throws. Justin Herbert, the only one to have less than 10 turnover worthy plays. Don't know how that sounds.
It's really tough to screw up when Keenan Allen's always getting open and Mike Williams is gigantic and not injured. But yeah.
All right.
Cool stat.
Okay, from Patrick Mahomes to Luka, who's another player you're stocking up?
Stocking up, actually. Well, I think I got the team thing now.
Okay.
And I'm going with the whole conference. I'm going with the whole AFC.
Wow.
And the reason why I'm going with the whole AFC, just listen to my points here. I think the NFC's been known. It's kind of like the NBA, where the West is just more dominant than the East. And I think year in and year out, the NFC is just more competitive. Like you see teams that are like 13-3, and they're like the number 3 seed. Other than the NFC East, like the NFC West is loaded, right? You have teams like the Bucks and the Saints who have to fight it out. The Green Bay division is going to be even better now. But AFC has all the young, upcoming quarterbacks. And yes, Justin Herbert is one of them. Okay, you have Joe Burrow. You now have Trevor Lawrence. If Deshaun Watson stays in there, Mac Jones coming up. But even then, like I know you went stock down, but Josh Allen's there, Baker Mayfield, Lamar. Like there's so many good quarterbacks in the AFC, and I just think they're getting better. I think they're catching up, and I think when you look at every single team, I'm not saying all 16 of them are playoff worthy teams, but there's a lot of teams that are on the uprise right now, and it's because of these young quarterbacks, all the young upcoming superstar quarterbacks that we could see, a lot of them are in the AFC. And so that's why, and that's the main reason why I'm going with the whole conference. I know it's kind of a cop-out, but I thought it would be pretty fun just to see, like, you don't really take into consideration until you really look into it. Like, I was looking, I'm like, oh my, this guy's in the AFC, this guy's in the AFC, this guy's in the AFC. And when we're looking at playoff pictures, there's a lot of teams that are on the bubble that you could say, oh, you know what, they're a good team, but they might not make it because of how many good teams are getting better. So I'm going to go with the whole conference. And it might be a bit of a cop-up, but I like the direction of the young quarterbacks and how competitive it's getting.
I think that's an interesting idea that you have too, because let's put this into betting terms. And if you were to bet on teams that are going to have, potentially play in a championship game in say the next 5-7 years, Chiefs are obviously going to be, you're making no money there, but you get to Cincinnati. Can they figure it out? Jacksonville, can they put it together? The Jets, are they on the rise? You mentioned New England, right? There's a lot of, if you think about, maybe I can make a good profit on that if I see this team, the Chargers, for example. I think that's an interesting idea, Luka. No, I'm not shitting on it at all. I'll stock up
Thank
on
you.
that.
Appreciate it.
Bradshaw, stock up.
I want to do a quick honorable mention stock up because I didn't realize we could just pick from our favorite teams willy-nilly. So I'm going to quick honorable mention stock up. AJ Terrell had a great had a great rookie season without many great safeties. So he's legit, right? And then Dean Pease, obviously your defensive coordinator. I think he'll help him quite a bit. I think he'll have a really solid second season. Anyway, my real stock up here is Matt Stafford. I think Matt Stafford going to LA and playing with an actual real team and an actual real offense for the first time in, well, probably ever for him since Georgia, maybe. And even then, Georgia's known for running the ball, so maybe not even then. I'm going to go with Matt Stafford. And then there was a quote recently that Sean McVay said he was better than advertised, which, I mean, he was probably already advertised as really good. So if Sean McVay is already like, well, Jesus, this guy's like better than we thought he was, I think he's going to have a really solid year. I think he's going to be finally throwing to receivers that are schemed open and not just relying on Kenny Golladay to just, I don't know, toss it up there and hopefully Kenny Golladay goes to get it, because Kenny Golladay gets no separation. He actually has guys that can get open through the scheme and on their own. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and he's going to have a running game with Cam Akers to kind of ease the pressure a little bit there too. So I think Matt Stafford's going to have a really, really solid season. I'm not willing to go like maybe best quarterback in the division yet. Obviously Russell Wilson's there, but second best quarterback in the division doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility. It seems like that's pretty clear. And maybe he pushes Russell depending on how bad the Seahawks are. And I already said they're not making the playoffs, so we'll see.
I think there's a group of people who think Matt Stafford in that move is a little overrated, in that
they're dumb.
They're going to be mediocre. And then there's a group that think man, he's going to be in the MVP race. His offense is going to be electric. And I think I'm in that boat with you as well, Bradshaw. I just can't see. He is super talented. When he was stuck in Detroit, it was tough to watch in moments, but I think they'll put it together. This offense, at least. The defense, we know, will fall apart, as Jeff referenced to earlier. So what do we got? We got another stock up, my last one. So that leaves me with a team. This one's pretty obvious, and we've talked about them so damn much. And sorry if it's getting a little irritating. I'm stocking up Cleveland Browns defense, but focusing more on their secondary. I'd be stunned if this team is in the AFC Championship game. I'm not confident in them. I think their offense is loaded. Their defensive front seven is fantastic. The issue last year was the secondary, right? And guess what? They answered that. That's what you want to see from teams trying to, with these championship aspirations, is answering to what their issues are. They go and get John Johnson III. They go and get Troy Hill. They go draft Greg Newsome. They already have Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, Grant Delpit's going to be back, right? Ronnie Harrison, who they pulled over from the Jags, he was pretty decent in the end of the year last year. They're loaded. This might be the best roster, maybe besides Tampa Bay, in football. They are that damn good, and I think we know their offense is going to put up points. Hopefully Baker takes another leap. He has OBJ back, right? Jarvis Landry, we know what he can do. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, I think that's the best 1-2 punch in football at the running back position. The offensive line is disgusting. But the defense was the question mark, and I think they've answered most of those questions. They're going to be solid, and I'm telling you right now, I will feel like an idiot if this team doesn't win the AFC North. I think there's a really good shot they do, and I think they're a really good shot they're in that AFC Championship game. So I know I've been kind of so repetitive about the Browns. It's crazy to think that this team's that loaded. And 4 years ago they were the laughing stock of the NFL. So kind of a good for them, which is kind of fitting, right? We have basketball on right now. The Phoenix Suns, laughing stock, and they're kicking ass. So I'll go to a stock down, and that brings me to a team. And sorry, Luca, I'm going to do it to you. New England Patriots offense.
Wow.
I feel attacked.
I'm sorry. I think that their offensive line is going to be top 5 in football. They are very, very talented. But after that, what do you get? Cam Newton. Are we ever going to get MVP Cam Newton again? No. Are we going to get the same Cam Newton as last year? Maybe not. I think he dealt with some injuries, obviously COVID-19, and the receiving group was pretty bad. So I think he might be a step up from that last year, but again, that's not saying much. And then they spent a ton of money in free agency, right? 2 tight end sets. Is that what they're going to go with, Hunter Henry and Johnny Smith? Okay, that's fine. Who's in the backfield at that point? Damian Harris? Stoney Michel has been an absolute nightmare. The fact they took Michel over Chubb.
Okay, Nolan. Okay.
I know. I'm sorry. It made no sense to me from day one. And then Jacoby Myers, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne. Like, when you put this offense out here and you look at it on paper, you'll see that O-line. You'll go, oh, damn, okay. Yeah, they're solid. Then you look quarterback, receiver, running back. The tight ends are nice pieces. But how much impact are these 2 tight ends going to have on an offense where you're really trying to figure out what your strategy should be with a running quarterback like Cam and then a rookie quarterback like Mac Jones if he takes over? So I think their defense is going to be fine. I think this is going to be a bottom 7 scoring offense, which kind of puts them in no man's land for me as a playoff team. I just can't see it. I'm sorry, Luca. That might be a bit harsh.
It's okay. It's all good.
But that's just the way I see it with New England. Again, in a tough division, Buffalo is going to be good. Miami's going to be good. Obviously, the Jets are, the Jets, but I think they will be better this year. But that's just the way I see it for this offense. They'll struggle again. Bradshaw, stock down. Your last one. What do you have?
I feel like this is good. I feel like this is also kind of like beating a dead horse here, but we're going to keep doing it anyway because why not? The Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm just going to go with the whole damn team, even including the defense. I know we'll start with the offense because everyone's going to yell and scream about their offense. Obviously, just released David DeCastro as of today when we're recording this, so they made their offensive line even worse. But hey, they got some cap space to sign maybe an offensive line. Oh boy, they could have just kept David DeCastro with that money. It's like the bit in Family Guy where it's like Peter can choose a mystery box or get a boat, and he says the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat. The salary cap space could be anything. It could even be an offensive lineman. Like, what do you like? I just like they're gonna get killed. They have such talented receivers. But it won't matter because their quarterback is old and bad, and their offensive line is young and bad. So this is just going to be a disaster of an offense. And their defense isn't going to be that great either. Like, it's going to still be solid. Like, it's still going to be a good defense, but they're asking more of guys that than they had to do last season. Like I think Cam Sutton's going to be starting at corner for them. They have a couple younger guys that are going to have to step up, and it's not going to be as good of a defense as last year. Obviously, TJ Watt's there. He's going to be great. Minka Fitzpatrick, great player. Like they have solid pieces. They have solid pieces at individual positions, but as a whole, this team is gonna they're gonna suck. Like they're not gonna make that. In my opinion, they're not making the playoffs this year. I think that's a pipe dream for them. Their offense won't score points, and I think their defense is going to be good enough to keep them in games this year. So yeah, stock down on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't see it. This team is not going to be very good this year.
I'm with you, Bradshaw. I was going to put them, and I thought I've been shitting on them too much. So
well, let me do it.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Luca, stock down. Who do you have as your last one?
Nolan's gonna be happy about this. I got the Saints.
Yeah.
Listen, Buddy's a big Saints fan. Sorry, Nick, but listen, they're just heading in the wrong direction. Yeah, well, I think we all gave them an F for their draft, and we're gonna see Sean Payton. No Drew Brees, and I know say what you want. Okay, listen about this last year. I'm still taking Drew Brees over anybody they have on that roster. I know Jameis Winston's young and he's throwing for 5,000 yards. And my bold prediction was he was going to turn the ball less than 10 times. And it's crazy that that's a bold prediction for that kind of guy. But how much are we going to see of Taysom Hill? Probably more than ever now. And it's going to annoy me. It's going to piss us all off. And the Saints won the division last year. So they got a harder schedule than everybody else in their division. Tampa's warmed up now, man. Like they're going. They got it all figured out. They have an easier schedule than the Saints. And the Saints, they lost one of their pass rushers in Trey Hendrickson. How quickly can Peyton Turner come in? I don't think he's going to come in very quickly. Cam Jordan's a year older. Marshawn Lattimore, I think he's a bit overrated. He has his moments, but for me, I don't think he's that shutdown corner like a Jalen Ramsey. Yes, Jeff. But for me, the Saints, I don't know what direction they're heading in. They have lost Jared Cook. Is Adam Trautman your number one tight end? Are you comfortable with that? MT just came off an ankle injury. How good is he going to be? There's no other receiver out there. Like, who else are they going to throw to? And how well is Jameis going to pick up this offense? I have no idea where they're going. They still have an elite running back, but how far can that really take you? So Saints trending in the wrong direction for me, stock down.
Again, sort of one of those teams like we mentioned, I think Jeff mentioned with Tennessee, where it's kind of like no man's land. You don't know how they're going to be, whether it's an 8-win team or honestly, like I think we mentioned with Pittsburgh, wouldn't be surprised if they're drafting in the top 5 because there's so many damn question marks with this team. They have the talent. It's just trying to put it all together now, even though they've gone all in for the past 4 or 5 years, it seems. Jeff, last one, stock down. What do you have, man?
Guys took all the good ones, man. You took the Steelers. That's a layup. You took the Saints. I honestly think they might be like picking in the top 5 potentially. They might actually be really bad. That's a good one. I wanted to pick the Vikings, but then I realized, oh, wait, the division's going to be horrible. So they have to get a few wins here and there. So you made it really tough on me. But, gosh, I guess I got to do it. It sucks because I really want Kyler Murray to be good. But, I mean, just like AJ Green. I mean, what are you doing? You want more? You want an injury-prone receiver?
Oh, classic AJ Green hater, Jeff Wall. My God.
Right here, baby. Right here. 5 years ago,
Jeff hates everyone.
Amazing receiving core. 5 years ago, amazing receiving core. Now, oh man, you got 3 outside receivers. What are you doing? What are you doing? It just doesn't. It just wilds me. The defense looks awesome. Looks great. But I don't know. It almost seems like over time, I just have less and less faith in Kingsbury. And I just think it's hurt Kyler's development so much. And we know progressions. It's not like Kyler's supposed to be getting better and better and better. It's not Madden. He doesn't have the superstar X factor rating or anything like that. So he's not going to consistently get better and better and better. And I honestly don't know if what we saw this previous year was just him kind of, having the offense opened up just a little bit more for him. So for me, it's got to be the Arizona Cardinals, man. It just doesn't look good, man. It doesn't look good at all. It doesn't look good for them. I think with generally speaking, I would say this division just getting even more competitive. It looks like it's going to be really rough for them. They're going to have probably somewhat of a rebuild. And also, I mean, the JJ Watt signing is cool, but again, another guy who is notorious for just being unable to stay healthy to save his footballing career, at least the end of it. So, I mean, you got that. And then Chandler Jones also apparently has a contract dispute. So you got that going for you. So, I mean, this whole team it's just looking rough. It's looking rough in the desert. So sorry for the Arizona Cardinals fans who might be listening to this podcast.
And that ties in with the Saints, if the Titans. I think they're, again, one of those teams where, hey, if Cliff Kingsbury can actually call smart plays, maybe they can put it all together. Maybe they can have a top 5 offense, and the defense can maybe get there with the linebackers, Zayvon Collins, Isaiah Simmons. If Chandler Jones stays on this team, sure, they might be all right. But again, they have all this talent, but it seems like Cliff Kingsbury just stalls it every single time. They go and draft Rondale Moore. You have to use a guy like that properly, right? And I'd be surprised if they use him the right way. I feel like they're just going to put him out there in the slot and tell him to run basic routes when that's not his shtick, right? Like, he should be that gadget guy every single time. It's surprising because I was actually going to do a stock down on Christian Kirk, but I was like, that's kind of lame. I thought it was a little too lame, Christian Kirk, because it's better than what I was originally going to do, which was Jamison Crowder. And I thought that was very, very lame. But guys, that's going to do it. Stock up, stock down. That was fun. A blast, a longer episode. We definitely had some laughs, but we'll see if any of these actually hit. I think there's some we definitely agree with, some not so much, but that's what it's all about, baby. That's going to do it. Cover 4 podcast. Bradshaw, Luca, Jeff, I'm Nolan. We will see you guys in the coming weeks. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Lingo Sport. Check us out on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back soon.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Lingo Sports and Lingo News for a whole lot more just like this.